Hello, folks. Welcome to today's important discussion. Before I start, I would like to recap what we did on our last discussion. I remember I shared with you the role of work breakdown structure plays in determining your project scope and the impact it has in organizing your project schedule. This is very important. We're going to be building on our work breakdown structure that we talked about last week, and then we will jump into our new topic, which is very important for today. When I talk to you about the roles the work breakdown structure plays, I ended that discussion on how cost code. You remember there's a numbers to the deliverables that I spoke about. I said it can be assigned to your project deliverables and activities. It's very important to be able to keep track on whatever deliverables that you complete for your project and how much costs are associated with it. After all, we're dealing with budget and money in order to finish our project. So in today's discussion, I'm going to introduce a very important topic that has to do with money or finances for your project, and that is cost classification. How do you define and classify cost in order to keep track and manage your project? This is very important, right? So without much ado, I will proceed to different cost classifications when it comes to your project. I have this 5 important list of costs that are really ideal and relevant when it comes to managing your project. I will dwell much more on direct and indirect costs for your project. Before we start looking into this list, let me briefly explain or define what project cost is. Remember, regardless of your project type, these costs are financial resources for the execution of your planned business activities. So whatever business or industry that you are, the project costs will help you manage that business. So they are the elements of your project budget. Remember, the budget for executing any project. So as you estimate these costs during the budget development, remember one thing, they are the funds you spend on the project. That is key. But here's the thing. You need to track and control these costs with very ultimate vigilance and attention to details to the project until the project reaches its completion. It's very important. You're not just creating a budget or a cost for your project, but there has to be a way to be able to track it, to make sure that whatever you sign for each activity, that cost has been utilized, controlled, and get to the bottom or completion of the project. So that is very important for us to understand. So let's briefly go into these 5 type of costs that are listed here. So pay attention, please. Direct costs, it is, as the name sounds, very straightforward. They are the costs that are associated with the project activities. So whatever that money that you can trace to the things that you did directly with your project are classified or referred to as what? Direct costs. What about indirect costs? These are costs among the different types of what expenses in your project management. These costs, remember, cannot be attributed to a particular activities in that project that you execute. Nonetheless, they are used in two or more projects. So let's take an example of maybe a supporting staff. That lady that sit in the project management office to run photocopies for portfolios of projects, right? Different projects. So you cannot trace that photocopy really to your project. So these are classified as what? Direct costs. Pause for a minute and let's think about what fixed costs are. Think about the first letter there, fixed cost. I mean, when we talk about the fixed costs in project management, they are those that stay constant throughout the project lifecycle and will not change until project is completed. So think about the project you've been part of recently and the money that you spend same till you finish the project. These are the costs. They stay constant irrespective of whatever it is. It doesn't change until your project is finished. What about the variable cost? Right? For instance, let's talk a little bit about the fixed cost. If your organization is engaged in road construction, for instance, the costs associated with the bulldozers, excavators are fixed because when you pay for the duration of work those bulldozers or equipment will be doing on your project site. All right. So when it comes to projects that involve software development as well, they are the development of computers and the physical development space. These are all examples of fixed costs. So keep that in mind. It's very important to differentiate these costs so you can track them to the successful completion of your project. Let's delve into the fourth cost, which is the variable cost. The name suggests is directly opposite of what fixed cost is all about. These are costs provide a sense of control throughout the project life cycle, right? The price will change as the company increases or decreases production output, giving the company's power to manage this effectively. So variable costs goes with what activities that are fluctuated or changes that occur to the project will come with a corresponding cost as well. All right. So let's consider, for instance, if you're developing a hardware company has decided to produce, for instance, 200 computers, hard disk for your company for $10. The company has agreed on this cost based on the total of all direct expenses. In this case, the variable cost for the project will be, think about it, $2,000, which is 10 by the 200. In another instances, when the company has, decided to produce 350 hard disk drivers, in this case, same, the variable cost is going to be that of $3,500. So this is how variable costs correspond to the changes that occurs as you manage the project. All right. Let's do with the last cost, which is normally we don't really think about it as important so much, but it plays a role in dealing or determining how the direction of your project. That is a sunk cost. All right. These are the costs that have already been expended, also known as what? Actual costs. While it can be really not so nice to throw money away, but it's very important to remember that the sunk cost should not be considered when making a vital project decision. For example, if you have spent $2 million only to find no way the team can complete a project successfully, right? Then that should only be cancelled. So there's a cost that has already been expended. So it's a trade-off cost, let me put it that way, right? So That is very important for your project. So let me deal with the project costs in details here. As you can see from my screen, all right? You're going to be talking about project costs. And as I said earlier, I classify them, differentiate them into two different categories, direct and indirect. As you can see under direct costs, I have labor, equipment, and all this. These are costs that can be traced, as I said earlier, to your project. And the indirect costs are overhead, markups. So these are examples that you see in the hierarchy tree that I have on this screen. And I hope that can really uh, reinforce your understanding of what I've already discussed with you. All right. Let's move on to uh, briefly how to compute direct costs, because they are very important, and that determine the chunk of your budget for your project. Any new project, you need to be able to compute the direct costs. So I have my direct cost computation for my project. So they have what do you call it, 4 different branches: labor costs, these are direct; material costs, equipment costs, and subcontractors costs. These are all costs that can be traced straight to what you execute directly associated with your project. So keep that in mind. So if you're computing labor costs, it's just a total number of units that you've been completed, and then you're going to be divided that by the labor production unit, or time the labor rate is. Same here as material costs, total number of work that has been completed on site or on your project location by the crew or the number of people working on it, and then you're going to be multiply that by your material rate. Think about this. If you have a wrong production number and wrong material rate, it will affect the basis of a complete or efficient budget. When it comes to the equipment, that is the total number to be completed by that bulldozer or bobcat or whatever it is for your project. Then you divide that by the equipment production rate. So you need to find a reliable production rate for each equipment or each skill machine that you employ on your project site, to be able to track and control how efficient it is to be able to get your project done into a successful completion. And then the subcontractor cost is all about what your subcontractor brings you, that we can finish this work for you by $20, $50,000, $1 million. Those codes are reliable, should be traced to the subsections of your project document, and it has to be verified to make sure your subs have captured every scope for that sub work and they have required skill to complete. I'm sure this gonna throw light and introduce a very important topic when it comes to cost management for our project. This is the first of it. I'll be coming out with the detail on other variable costs or different components and how we can look at costs in a different direction to support our project. Thank you for listening. Once again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to subscribe to my channel, Allthings Project Management, and also hit the like button and subscribe. And some of this important concept I'll be discussing short concept like this, and then you'll be the first to receive the notification for it. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate you. Bless you.